Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new and you love all things Dollar Tree, especially DIYs, plus budget decor, I would love it if you would become part of this crafty family by clicking the red subscribe button down below and tap the bell, and then all to be notified every single time I upload. For those of you returning, thank you so much for stopping by, and let's get on into the DIY. Okay, so to start off, I just measured a piece of foam board and I just cut it out with my knife. I got the inspiration from Crafts by Caitlin. She had shared on her Instagram stories a Christmas tree sign, and I knew that I could recreate it. She said it was like 17 bucks, and I made this one for probably about $2 to $3. So I just cut it down. As usual, I'll always leave the measurements down below. And then I was going to use Dollar Tree wooden rulers, but I just didn't have enough. So I resorted to my favorite square dowel rods. You guys know that I love these if you guys have been with me for a while. So I just measure them, cut them, and now I'm staining them with my favorite stain, Jacobine, and I can also leave the measurements of these down below as well. So I just take my foam board, and although it's white, I still like to put a nice coat of white Waverly chalk paint just because this paint is really crisp and white, and the foam board is kind of, I don't know, it's just not as bright as paint. So I just give it a nice coat using my favorite paintbrush. I have these linked down below as well. It is an affiliate link. If you do not wish to purchase anything from my affiliate links, you can always just search Amazon, click on the link, see what it is, and then search Amazon yourself. So for the next part, I just freehand a banner for the top. I just draw like an arch and then like where little, it kind of looks like it's holding it down, but it's just decoration. And if you're not comfortable with freehanding it, you can just go right on Google and type banner and find the one you want, print it out, and then trace it. So as you just saw, I took a sanding block because when you cut down foam board, there are edges that are all frayed. And then I just take my ink and the Waverly chalk paint and paint the edges black. I then take some silver paint. I was going to spray paint it, but it was raining today and I didn't want this piece to get wet. So I just took silver acrylic paint and I just paint that down because we're going to galvanize that. So I have these beads and I take out 2 smaller ones, 2 bigger ones, and I do the pearls that way they will paint really nicely and they're smooth. So I just paint them all black in the ink, Waverly chalk paint, and you'll see why I'm doing this in a minute, but I just lay them out and I cut it out. I had a time because of my nails trying to paint them, but I did get them painted. So next I'm going to take my elephant in the Waverly chalk paint. I have my natural sponge and I just dip it in and dab all over my banner. And I get the excess off. That's why I like to have this brown paper down, because then I can just paint right on this paper and not have to worry about it making a mess. So I then go in with white. I don't do as much white as I do gray, and if you do go a little bit crazy, all you have to do is go right back in with your elephant or your gray and cover up the brightness of the white. So I always think that when you galvanize something, if you take black around the edges, it makes it look much better. So that's what I did. So I then go in with some gold acrylic paint with my natural sponge again, and I just dab it on the smaller pearl, and that way we make kind of, again, it's going to look like these are holding the banner in place, but again, it's just decoration. So because of my nails, again, it's hard for me to kind of get little stuff like this down straight. So I just take a pair of my Cricut tweezers and I put them in place and then push them down with my finger, and you can see where I place them. So for the next part, I'm just taking what was left on my brush with the black from painting the little pearls, and I'm just dry brushing all over my sign. And if you guys can see here that my sign kind of curled up because of the paint, don't worry about it. Once you add your border, it straightens it out really nicely. So I then take a little stencil, and I was asked before how I get it not to bleed, and to be honest, sometimes it does bleed on me. I just do my best to hold it down and use as little paint as possible at first, and then if you need to, you can always go in with a second coat. But for this, I didn't need to. Again, it did bleed on me a little bit, but it wasn't really a big deal to me because it's not extremely noticeable. If it is, all you have to do is just go back in with your gray and redo it. So I'm here taking a smaller paintbrush and just connecting my letters. When you stencil, I guess in order for it to be able to be cut out on the stencil, they have to keep those spaces. I don't really know, but I always connect them afterwards. So here I'm just measuring. I'm sorry it's cut off, you guys, but I'm just measuring to make sure that where I wanted to put this banner, it's in the right spot. And I just attach that with some hot glue at the top, making sure that I'm leaving enough space for my banner. Next, I have these little Christmas trees from a pack of wooden stickers from Dollar Tree. And I had this green acrylic paint, and I thought it was just a little bit too light. So I just took some black on the edge of my paintbrush, just a little dab, and then I go in with the green and I kind of make it streaky. I like the effect that it gives because it kind of gives a bit of dimension while darkening the tree up. I do this with a lot of my stuff. I just like the effect that it gives, but if you have a darker green and you don't like this effect, then you can just paint it really however you like. Next, I just printed off the word Christmas trees and have yourself a merry little Christmas. And I will leave the font and font size in the description box, and I just trace it on with graphite paper. I also stenciled on fir and cedar and pine and spruce on each side of trees, and I just use the same stencil that I used for the Farm Fresh. I then go in with my black paint pen and I outline the letters and color them in. So for this font, it had this shadow, and I didn't stencil it on because it looked weird when I started to stencil it. So I knew that I could just go back in and follow the picture that I printed out to give it this effect. And if you do this, I wasn't too sure if I was going to do the shadow, but I figured that I would give it a go and see what it looked like, and I'm happy with the way it turned out. So again, it's your preference. You could even change up the font. It's totally up to you. That's the beauty of DIY. You can change it to suit your decor, or, change up the wording. It's all up to you. Next, I go in with these bigger pearls that I painted black, and I put one on each side of the little saying at the bottom. And again, I use my Cricut tweezers because it's difficult for me to get them in the right place with my nails. Sometimes being a DIYer and having nails isn't the best combination, but I make it work. Next, I just take a ruler and I make a line on top of and on the bottom of the tree names. And then I just keep looking at it and erasing just to make them even and look cohesive. And then after that, I do the same thing on the other side. And again, I erase to make them even. I then go in with my red paint pen and I just outline those lines with the red paint pen. And I did get this idea from Crafts by Caitlin's sign. It did have this on there. So I thought that it looked really cute and I wanted to incorporate that in my sign. I then take my little Dollar Tree trees, the wooden trees, and I glue on the back and I glue them together so that way the right-sided one is higher than the other. If that makes no sense, you can see what I'm doing. And then I just did the other one opposite. I then take my hot glue and I glue my trees on either side of the farm fresh. And it doesn't lay flat, which I kind of like because again, it gives it some dimension. Next, you're just going to take some hot glue and take your frame and glue it down. I did the bottom first, then the sides, and then the top. And I did create a document and I just did the font that I used for the Christmas trees. I typed it out. I just took the document that I made. It's nothing special, you guys, but I did send a link to myself to share it with you guys. So I will leave that down in the description box. You will just have to cut out the word Christmas because it does run onto another page, and then just tape it together. That way when you stencil it, it's perfectly straight, which to me is no big deal. So I just wanted to let you guys know. But again, I will leave that down in the description box just so that if you do want to make this sign, then you'll at least have the Christmas trees and the Merry Little Christmas already made for you, ready to go. So last but not least, I take a sawtooth hanger out of this pack of picture hangers that I have. Again, it's another one of my favorites, and I'll leave that link down below. And that is it, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a big thumbs up. Leave in the comments down below and let me know if you enjoyed this video, if you want to see more signs, or let me know what kind of DIYs you want to see. I was thinking about doing like reviewer requests, so if that's something you would like, let me know in the comments down below. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do that if you enjoyed this DIY, because I have so much more to come for the holiday season. And until next time, guys, bye. I don't think we got enough time to sort out the fights, sort out the lies. Oh baby, yeah. Oh no, there was a part of me that